And welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
Today we want to talk to you about Capitol Reef National Park.
And this is a park that is part of Utah's Mighty Five, and we knew absolutely nothing about before we got here.
It's our third park to visit, and right now it's our favorite.
Yeah, it's, I knew nothing about it, and I had heard so many great things and seen videos about the others, and this one, nobody that I hadn't specifically gone and looked for it, because trying to find information about these parks is overwhelming.
Yes.
And we are making a video about the camping options in this area, but we want to talk to you about the park. If the only thing you have time for this park
Is 1 hour.
is to get off of Highway 70 and take the scenic Highway 24 as it drives across the park, it's free. There are some historic buildings, the petroglyphs, there's a cabin, let's talk about that. There's a historic cabin, and then
the schoolhouse.
The schoolhouse is right here, and depending on the time of day you get here, there's enough parking for RVs if there's parking available.
Yes.
But then the petroglyphs, that is super cool.
And the ranger told us there are more petroglyphs than they show you on they show you what to look for.
Yeah.
There are more than that.
But they don't want to announce or publicize where they are because they're trying to protect them. Because people are gonna...
And we're almost sure we have seen some.
Yeah, out in the park. But the terrain changes. We've been going from east to west, and you get different views of the park as you're driving across Highway 24. And then there was a sunset. There are a couple of little bitty roads that go off that you can barely go off and take a 60-foot hike or something. I mean, it's short distance, and get a feel for the park. I asked the ranger, why is it called a reef? We're not near an ocean. And she said, it's along the same idea of like a barrier reef. It prevents or impedes travel to the shoreline. Well, this reef, or this fold, and you can see through the pictures of, just the way the rocks are formed, that this fold, this crease, prevented or impeded travel of settlers heading west.
The reason it's called Capitol, there is a dome.
A rock
that people thought looked like the Capitol building in Washington, and that's where they got Capitol.
And so that's Capitol Reef. And
since we're teachers, the school was for grades 1 through 8, and the teacher, 14 years old.
Yeah, buddy. Anyway, if that's all you have time for, it's worth getting off of the interstate. But if you can add a little more time to that, going to the visitor center, which is just off of Highway 24, you see it right there.
And it's marked.
But then driving down to through the historic area that's the Fruita Area, and you may hear the Fremont River behind us. It was the early settlers used this river to irrigate that section, and I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
I think you are too.
And there are historic orchards, some of the oldest orchards in Utah for sure, and perhaps in the country. And still,
if you visit at a time when things are blooming and ripe, you are free to go in the orchard and eat anything you want. If you take anything out, there's a nominal fee for what you carry out. But they have cherries and apricots and peaches and pears and almonds and apples.
And there are a variety of groves you can see as you drive through that area, but it is lush and green. The campground there is green. There are some historic buildings there. There is a museum shop where, quite honestly, they sell pies and
I think that's a big draw.
yeah, the pies and the preserves that they sell in there.
They had salsa. We're Texas girls. We're not going to buy salsa in Utah.
Anyway, but that's an interesting area. And in the evening, the deer come and graze, and it's just, I mean, they were right at a guy's tent.
Yes.
I mean, as you're driving through that area. If you can add time onto that, taking the Scenic Drive, it's 10 miles one way, and it's just past the Visitor Center, and it's 10 miles straight out. There's a place that's called the Divide. What divide was that?
The Slick Rock.
Slick Rock Divide. Fortunately, we were there in the evening, and I got to tell you, evening or morning is
Yes.
the lighting is just amazing.
Evening
But
was really better because there wasn't much traffic.
But that is just amazing. I mean, that Scenic Drive, going out there, the 10 miles, seeing all of the difference in the terrain, and as you're driving out that, and it's different than what you've seen on
Yes.
24. And then if you can, leave your trailer somewhere. You don't want to pull a trailer
No.
down here. But if you're in the area and you're going to the park,
Please.
this is one of the coolest things. I know we say that periodically.
But this really is.
This was mind-blowing, and I mean, just as you're going out the Scenic Drive, though,
Yes.
there are parts where you're saying this is just magnificent. Pictures cannot do this justice. You're just surrounded. It was amazing, but
You get to the end of the Scenic Drive, and there's another little drive on a washboard road, a gravel road.
and we stopped and read because I'd heard the ranger tell somebody there was a high clearance road. We read. It said the maximum length was 27 feet, but it said nothing about high clearance vehicles.
And we were somewhat concerned, but Sharon said, we'll start down, and if we can't do it, we'll turn
We'll,
around.
we'll come back.
It was one of the most magnificent things I've ever seen. Canyon walls on both sides, and you're driving between.
It
I mean,
was
close on both sides in places.
Well, we, when we first got started down there, we weren't really sure, and I'm like, okay, let's just see what's around this next curve. And there was another curve that you wanted to see what was around it, and then another. It was, like I said, there aren't words to describe it, and we
colors.
we took video trying to, but you have to be there and see how small you feel when you're looking at these
Yes.
canyon walls that are just. It was.
And they're right beside you, and you just.
It was amazing. There aren't words, like we said. We're trying, but there just aren't. And there are trails at the end. And we got down there, and someone was on one of the trails. They had driven a Prius down there.
So if you've got any kind of vehicle, you should be fine.
So, we did take it really easy in
Yes.
places, and we did choose our route. And we do want to say, that is as of the 1st of May in 2021. If there have been storms and people have tried to drive down there
Yes.
with four-wheel vehicles, they may have put huge ruts in there. We don't know. But we're just saying, as of right now, I got to tell you, if you can spend a night somewhere in the area, maybe where we're staying, because that's the Fremont River right there, it's just awesome. And this is free. We have a video about it. Spend a night and then go do that Scenic Drive. Like we said, in the evening, there was one car. I knew they were going to go faster than we were, so at a place where we could, I kind of pulled over and motioned with them. They went down, turned around, and came back. And I think there was one other car
Yes.
that passed us. That was it in the evening. Today, when we were there around 11, there
Yes.
were 3 cars bumper to bumper going in.
And a group of motorcycles at the side, and there were
A lot of
bunch
people down there.
vehicles.
So anyway,
But give yourself some time. Don't go right at dusk. I'd say go by 6 or 6.
well, depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
Depending on the time of year. Give yourself at least an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours before sunset, whatever time that's going to be. If you're starting at the visitor center, give yourself at least 2 hours
Yes.
to go down,
Yes.
get all the way through, and you'll get back to the visitor center before it's dark. depending on how long you want to take.
Yeah.
But this park, if you can do nothing but ride in your car, it's breathtaking.
Yes.
I was able to get out and do a couple of short hikes, which was awesome and fun and amazing. But the views I saw in the car were that canyon. I mean, there is a canyon you can walk to.
Yes.
Grand Gulch.
Grand Wash.
Grand Wash, yeah. I can't believe it beats the drive we had. But it's 4 miles one way, I believe.
I think so.
And so you can walk down there and let us know. Because we're not going to do it. But anyway, this park was not on our radar at all. And it's one that we really didn't even do much research on before we came.
Nobody talks about
it.
Capitol
Nobody
Reef.
talks about it. And I got to tell you, it is
spectacular.
And like she said, of the 3 Mighty 5 that we've been to so far, this one's at the top.
Yes.
We haven't been to Bryce, we haven't been to Zion, so that may change. But yeah, if this is not on your radar, if you can fit it in, it is worth the time. So we hope you've enjoyed our look at Capitol Reef National Park. And as always,
thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.